Hi, I'm Jason Bellamy here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're at National Student Conclave 2014. We're coming to the end, and I'm joined by a keynote speaker tonight, Scott Chesney, who's going to close it out. Scott, I want to get to the message of your keynote, but first, let's just get a little bit of background on your story. When you're 15, you suffered a rare stroke. Tell me about that and kind of maybe just those first couple of years experience, what that was like for you before you your life kind of started to transform in a way under your own motivation.
Absolutely. It totally upended my life. It was December 28th, 1985. Woke up the morning after a high school basketball game. Life was all about movement and basically just woke up and couldn't walk again. And there was no accident, no injury, no trauma, and basically doctors had indicated I was born with this almost like congenital birth defect, a malformation of blood vessels. Could have gone my whole life without anything happening, but it was just my time. It was like a sleeping volcano. The blood vessels burst and left me paralyzed from my waist down to my toes. And it just really devastated me, but really didn't hit me. It devastated me in the beginning, but didn't last too long for a number of reasons. One is that I just had immense support at home. I had such wonderful friends and family around me and great therapists that just did not let me dwell on what had happened. So it wasn't until many years later that it really, really affected me, and I was able to really take this tragedy and turn it into transformation.
And so how do you do that? How do you go from, you said your life was all about movement, to deciding it's still going to be all about movement, just not the way that I predicted?
Well, what I've realized in life, and this has taken a long journey on my part, 2 trips around the world, 38 countries, meeting people from all walks of life, is that I realized to really understand life, you have to embrace life's polar opposite. So for me, life was all about movement, was all about talking. So the opposite of that would be silence and stillness. 2 things that I had avoided immensely. And somebody would at that age anyway, but I avoided it in my 20s as well. And it finally got to the point where it really didn't matter how much success and greatness I was creating outside myself, there was still something missing within. And once I embraced the polar opposites of stillness and silence, my life started to transform. And then I was able to strike a balance and realizing that, you know what, when life's moving too quick, I got to chill for a little while. When I'm chilling too much, I got to bring some more movement and some more noise into my life. So trying to strike that balance in life. And that's what I want to share with this group tonight, who are just really getting going in their lives. I'm kind of envious. I wish I knew back then what I know today. So grateful to be able to share those experiences with them.
So how much physical therapy, ballpark, do you think you've had in your life? I mean, how often have you been in the care of a physical therapist?
Well, I laugh at that, and something I'll be sharing with them tonight is my wife's a physical therapist, but from what I've heard, it's like being married to a massage therapist. I'm the last one who gets treated. So, no, I'm constantly being treated by physical therapists. I mean, there are secondary conditions that come up that require that care, but I would never, and it's part of the huge message tonight, is that I would never be where I am today had it not been for the immediate care that I've received from doctors, but more so, I'm going to say my physical therapist, who's like my best friend these days, who just helped me get back into life and has helped so many of my extended brothers and sisters with disabilities not only survive what's ever happened to them, but thrive. I mean, I love using that word now, thrive, in the face of adversity. And people are like, you can't combine those two. And I'm like, who says? So I'm totally indebted to this practice, physical therapies, physical therapists as well as physical therapy assistants.
So what makes a good physical therapist and physical therapist assistants? You've been in their care, you know, the ones that stand out. What makes them great?
I would say that connection. It's going beyond the call of what it is that you're taught and really making that connection with the patient. One of the things I'll be sharing tonight is that my first physical therapist talked to every single family member, every single friend who came to visit me, and found out what made Scott tick. And it wasn't, it happened very quickly, found out that I was an athlete, but what type of athlete it was. So she made almost like every physical therapy session like a practice, but now getting ready for the biggest game of all, getting back into life. And she got the most out of me. I actually got out of physical therapy much earlier than most people would have, because we ended up doubling our sessions, things that are done commonly today. Back then was 1 session a day, and I didn't want to watch soap operas anymore, and she didn't want me to either. And so she said, let's get more sessions going. And so I got out of there earlier. But it's something, again, almost like maintenance on a car. And then when something does happen, you need that to help you going in life. I mean, my personal and my professional lives are very busy these days. And if it had not been and continue to be for the help of physical therapists, I wouldn't be able to continue.
So physical therapy, there are multiple aspects of it, right? There's sort of getting somebody better beyond what they were, but then there's also maximizing the capability of what they have. You said, you know, you have two paths. One path is to walk again. One is to sort of maximize the life you have right now from a wheelchair. So maximizing, how much are you constantly striving to maximize your abilities now based on what they are?
Every day. I'm totally grateful for where my life is right now, and I'm appreciative of every aspect of it, but for me it's about constant and never-ending improvement. I say the moment where I have something figured out is like you stick me in the ground and you cover me with dirt. There's no reason to be alive. So it's constantly wanting to raise the bar, and physical therapists still challenge me. They'll see what I'm able to do. I mean, I just had the experience recently is that one of the physical therapists who was working with me, I told her, listen, I need a new back on my chair and I need this, and kind of being in a chair for 29 years, I kind of think I know it all in many ways I don't. And so she just kind of looked at me, she said, Scott, be quiet. And she kind of like took me under, lifted me up out of my chair, and I don't need help transfer. She lifted me out of the chair, put me over to the side. She's like, you ready to listen? And she's a little tiny girl. And I said, I'm ready to listen. And she just started to share with me all these new practices, all these new techniques, all this new equipment that I could have. And I put up the white flag, which I've done many times in my life. I say I surrender. I do not know it all and so forth, and I continue to learn and strive. But I realize that you have to take the team aspect approach. Is that whether it be my doctors, whether it be my physical therapist, physical therapy assistants, is that everyone needs to be on the same page with regards to what is the best possible care for me. And that's with every individual. And I'm just happy because I know I can attribute my success to the team effort that's being put forward in my life right now.
Awesome. One of the recurring themes of this National Student Conclave really has been listening and aspiring to better. It's a perfect way to finish out NSC 2014. You can watch all of Scott Chesney's closing remarks on the NSC website. It's going to be available through the end of the year, so go there and check it out. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. To watch all these video dispatches, go to the NSC website. I'm Jason Bellamy. I'll catch you next time.